everyone. Welcome to SIF Cinema, our fabulous 8th annual Noir City Extravaganza. Are you guys having a good time? Here, here, here. My name is Dustin Casper. I'm Educational Programs Manager and a programmer with SIF. And you are here for tonight's presentation of Drunken Angel, directed by Akira Kurosawa. Brilliant! So, really quickly, want to remind you that passes and ticket packages are on sale for our 40th anniversary festival coming up in May and June. And you can find more information on sif.net about buying passes and anything else you might desire. Different ticket packages, opening night tickets. Get them before you know what genius is going to come along so you don't miss out. Membership. How many of you are SIF members? I love, oh my God, look at that sea of hands. If you want to be part of that sea of hands, you can join and become a member of SIF. It gets you discounts on tickets to SIF Cinema as well as the festival itself, preview screenings, etc., etc. It's a pretty darn awesome opportunity to get deeper into the SIF world. You can find more information at sif.net, where there's also a brochure you can snag out in the lobby. Coming up soon, how many of you... no, I'm not going to ask that question. Coming up, there's a movie called Final Cut, ladies and gentlemen, which if you have not seen, you are going to be in for such a treat. I cannot wait to see it on the big screen. I saw it on a screener, in a screener library in Sweden, and thought it totally blew my mind on the small screen, and cannot wait for it to come next week to SIF Cinema. It is truly a dream of any film lover. Basically takes 450 of some of the screen's greatest stories and cuts them all together using an exquisite years of editing and creates one kind of story out of it. Well worth catching. And then March 21 to 23 have Orson Welles' Lady from Shanghai, William Friedkin's Sorcerer, and Werner Herzog's Nosferatu the Vampire coming. Some other things you might be interested in. If you have not already done so, please turn off your cell phones, anything that's going to make noise during the screening, and please keep it in your pocket. No texting, no blue lights, only black and white. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's all the pre-stuff I need to talk about. Our guest tonight, many of you already know because you've been coming to many of these over the 8 years, if not just this weekend alone. But he is the founder and director of the Film Noir Institute, and has been programming the Film Noir Foundation. Sorry, I'm not looking at my sheet and trying to do it just on what I know about you, which obviously is flawed. But also has been programming film festivals and specifically Film Noir for 16 years. I am indebted to him because every time he comes, since easily probably 2008, we have had an extraordinary opportunity to go out and connect with schools. This year, Eddie and I went and visited Seattle Central Community College, Cornish College of the Arts, Nathan Hale High School, the Center School, and Lakeside Upper School, preaching the gospel of noir. But he is here tonight to talk about Drunken Angel. Give him a big round of applause, Eddie Muller.
And what do we teach these kids in these schools? All of that and more. And when it's cocktail time. It's a bitter little world, kids. I'm here to tell you that. Okay, so my infection, my noir contagion began when I was about 13 years old, I think. Watching Dialing for Dollars on television in the afternoons when I would cut school. And I think it was a film called Thieves Highway that started it. And then I became kind of obsessed with any movie that had night, street, city, big in the title. It was like, yeah, I want to say it. But then when I was 15 years old, and this is a very, very distinct memory, I had a little room down the hall from my parents, and it was like, it had been like the sewing room or something, and I was a contentious little bastard. And it was like, I'm going to put my bed in this tiny little room, like my cell, my prison cell. And I had like a little Sony Trinitron TV in there. And this one night, I said, I was really digging movies at this point. And it was like, I'm going to watch this foreign film. And I'd never seen a subtitled movie before. And that film blew my mind. That was The Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. And it was the best film I had ever seen. And I said, wow, and it's in Japanese, and these guys are running around in robes with swords. It was absolutely fantastic. You know what I'm talking about, you've seen this movie. And then, of course, I saw the American version later, Magnificent Seven, and it was like, this is nothing. This is nothing. And one of the reasons for that was because of Toshiro Mifune, who is just one of the greatest movie stars of all time. Any culture, any language, anything. I mean, Toshiro Mifune is the man. And tomorrow you will see the other man, Jean Gabin, when you see Pepe Le Moko tomorrow. Those are like the two guys, right? Humphrey Bogart's in there in the middle, Robert Mitchum's in there somewhere, but those two guys have it covered, okay? So later on, imagine my surprise when I realized that Kurosawa had actually made Noir. Before he ever got around to doing his samurai epics, he actually made Noir. So the film that you're about to see, Drunken Angel, has a very interesting history because the whole reason this film exists is because the film that had been made at this studio prior to this had created this whole set of this like slum in Tokyo. This is all a set. This is not shot on location or anything. And it had cost so much money that they didn't want to strike the set and destroy it without getting one more movie out of it. So Kurosawa just wrote this story, this amazing saga of a tubercular doctor and this young, or an alcoholic doctor and this tubercular young gangster. And when he said, you know, this is all about these two actors, so I have to cast this perfectly. And Takeshi Shimura, who plays the doctor, of course, is also in The Seven Samurai. He is the leader of the samurai. And he and Kurosawa had a great collaboration through a number of films. But they were auditioning actors for another movie when Kurosawa saw this young guy give an audition and just blew up his world when he saw this guy. And this was Mifune. But an interesting thing about Japanese culture, all the other producers and people at the studio passed on Mifune because he was too electric. He was just too much. And it was like he did not have the necessary reserve that they felt comfortable with. And Kurosawa said, this is my guy. And this is the first film that they made together. And they would go on to have one of the great actor-director collaborations in history. And you know, I don't know what else to tell you. If there's for no other reason to see this movie, it's to see young Toshiro Mifune just burn a hole through the screen. This guy is so good. And like all the other films we've shown today, this is a movie that is a product of the immediate post-war era. And as I was commenting to some people earlier, you know, I grew up reading all about film noir and hearing American academics talk about it and how it reflected, you know, post-war anxiety and male trepidation about the increasing role of women in the American workforce and the emasculation of the male and existing in the shadow of the atomic bomb. Well, now you're going to see a film that is made in a country where the atomic bomb was dropped on them. So this is like a whole other thing. So when you start getting into international noir and you see The Murderers Are Among Us and you see Drunken Angel and Stray Dog, you are seeing film noir made by the countries that lost World War II. That's a whole other level of noir. So this is a very, very philosophically astute movie, and to my mind, a very powerful movie. The only other thing I will say about this is you've been watching that trailer for the Noir City International for several days now, and there's a great shot of the Japanese woman in the nightclub, you know, calling out, you know, I'm embarrassed I can't remember her name right now, but that song is called Jungle Boogie. Before Quentin Tarantino used it in Pulp Fiction. It's called Jungle Boogie. And Kurosawa wrote the lyrics to that song. And she would not perform a couple of verses of the song because she felt they were so sexually offensive that she was a known performer in Japan. And she actually refused to sing the words. It had something to do with "Love me so deeply I can't walk straight." And she said, "There's no way I am singing that lyric. No, I'm not doing that." And you will definitely see in this film a director who is inspired by American movies. Like the Argentinian film we showed the other night that was clearly inspired by American films. I don't think you could say that about The Murderers Are Among Us Today. That's a German film, clearly. But when Kurosawa made these films, he was definitely an aficionado of Western culture. But it is significant to note that at the time he made this film, there was a very strong American military presence in Japan and in Tokyo, which is not in this film. Because it was clear that when Kurosawa was making these movies, he was trying to hold up a mirror to Japanese culture and make films about the Japanese psyche, and he did not want the American presence in Japan to have anything to do with that. Because if they were in the film, that's what the film was about. And so he did not want that. So he very consciously made this film and the next one, Stray Dog, with no American presence whatsoever, which is not an accurate depiction of the time at all, because there were Americans all over the place in Tokyo at this point. So that's a little fanciful in this regard, but that's the reason for it, is he said this is a film about Japan and about the Japanese psyche after World War II. So enjoy. You're going to get to see the young, hot Toshiro Mifune in this movie, and he's just terrific. So thanks very much. I hope you're going to stick around for Brighton Rock. I will be back to introduce that one as well. But this is my last night, so I know, it's sad, but you guys are great. I'm really thrilled to see such a big audience on Sunday night for Akira Kurosawa's Drunken Angel. Enjoy it.